How's it going, everybody? Are you guys having an interesting time here? Was Josh thorough in his briefing? Well, I heard you guys were around today, so I wanted to stop by and say hello. I also have a bit of breaking news for you, and then I might take some questions. I overheard Josh talking about student loans, and I know that's a big priority for a lot of your listeners and readers. And that's one of the reasons why my administration has spent a lot of time focused on college affordability. So we expanded Pell Grants to make sure that more young people could access it. We created the Pay As You Earn program that ensures that people can cap the amount that they're repaying on their loans each month, and so that young people who want to go into jobs that aren't as lucrative are still able to pursue their passions and their dreams while managing their debt load. Today I want to announce that we're aiming to enroll 2 million more people in Pay As You Earn by this time next year. And you can find out how at studentloans.gov/repay. That's studentloans.gov/repay. And we're also going to be making some additional announcements about how we're going to get our agencies coordinating so that as young people are managing their student loan debt, there's one-stop shopping. They can figure out how to do it, and they can make sure that there are consumer protections in terms of how they're being treated in their repayment process. While I have you here, I might as well mention a couple other things. You may have heard that there is a Supreme Court vacancy. For those of you who've been studying our system of government, we have 3 branches, and one of the most important is the judiciary. And right now, our Supreme Court is absent one sitting member with the passing of Justice Scalia. I've nominated an individual named Merrick Garland, who's currently the Chief Judge on the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, which is the second most important court in the land. By all accounts, he is extremely well qualified, and traditionally, what's happened is that the Senate then, exercising its constitutional duties of advise and consent, will meet with the judge and then have a hearing for him and then have a vote. In part because politics have gotten so polarized lately and the importance of this seat, so far at least, the Republican leader on the Senate side, Mitch McConnell, has refused to have the Republican caucus meet with him and schedule an actual vote, although to their credit, there have been a number of Republicans who've broken ranks and gone ahead and met with Judge Garland. I mention this because I think it's important for all of you while you're in town, and many of you who are going to end up being journalists covering important national policy, to recognize that our system only works when, even when we have big disagreements, even when there are big policy disputes, there is still a willingness to follow the rules and treat people fairly, especially those who are on the other side of the debate. That's something that's been lost a little bit in this town of late. And as I said at my State of the Union address, my hope is that despite some of the unusual rhetoric that we've been hearing during this presidential campaign, that it's young people like you who are going to restore that sense of us being able to work together and make this democracy function effectively. And journalists play a critical role in that. Sometimes both Josh and I probably have our disagreements with the press corps and feel picked on or misunderstood. But the truth of the matter is, and I've said this before, what separates us out in part from a lot of other countries in the world is we've got this incredible free press that pokes and prods and calls into account our leaders. And that is how we can make sure that leaders are accountable to the people who elect them. And that's how we make sure that you don't see major abuses of power, and when you do, that in fact the American people know about it and are able to make changes. And so you guys are going to have a critical role, those of you who end up following journalism. I hope many of you do. I want to thank the White House Press Corps, because I understand they gave you a lot of time today, and